Can he do it again? Mike Bibby. Bibby stops, pops, there it is! Bibby, the hero, again! A back-to-back nights! Oh, boy!
Back close, stolen by Bibby. Ahead to Martin, to the rim. And the Sacramento Kings have won!
What's going on, everybody? This is the Kings Court presented by SacKingsNation.com. Joining me today, Mr. Rui Thomas. Rui, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, Vince. Thank you for having me on the show again.
Oh, I appreciate you coming back on, and especially at a time where the Kings are trying to recapture their Summer League championship. They're going after it again. Game 1 was not pretty, but we were just talking about it right during the whole entire intro right there that the Kings are, they're the swing in the media. You know what I mean? They were bashing on him for the trade. The media was just completely getting on him. Wojnarowski, just throwing that name out there. And now it's kind of swung. Now it's a little different. I mean, you've been at the practices, you've been seeing everything. So what are your thoughts now? Not just specifically on Summer League, but how the team is starting to shape up. Because I mean, there's been some signings since the last time you've been on this show.
Oh well. I mean, if there's an aura in the air, and there's definitely a lot of confidence in the building because, I mean, I don't think anyone really expected all these moves to happen. Yeah, you talk about the national media and Woj for slamming the Kings for trading Thompson and Landry and Stauskas and the options to pick flips and picks or whatnot for the cap space, but what's ridiculous is that this isn't like the first time in NBA history that a team has moved assets along with bad contracts to clear cap space. And, there were concerns that the Kings, since they historically have trouble pulling in free agents, that it would be a wasted move. But I mean, I think Vlade Divac's really showing his ability to reach out to these players and convince them, there is stability in Sacramento. So, I think that's, it's flowing over into, the basketball we see now. I mean, these guys obviously have a lot of energy. These players trying to make an impression on the coaching staff in Summer League are obviously going to give it their all. But I think, everyone is really feeling good about this year.
Yeah, I mean, especially after everything that we were seeing and everything that we were hearing and reading, again, Adrian Wojnarowski, everything like that was going at him. And now it's like, okay, they brought in Marco Bellinelli. Okay, I understand. This team just got better from that one. Oh, now they got Rondo. Question mark, but if it works out, it works out in a good way. Everybody was still jumping on them about the trade, which, I mean, I'm still all for. I mean, I don't think it's a great trade, but I understand why they did it. It's one of those things where I'm watching it all pan out, and I really think that Vlade is really buying into that win now mentality. He says, I feel he's trying to go for what the video editor of this show does, Marley Silverbrand, told me. He's trying to get that Larry Bird. He's trying to be that Larry Bird type of presence for the Kings where he can run the front office, run this team, make the right decisions, and I think he's doing it the right way. You've been watching the practices and you've been seeing him there. You've been seeing his presence around now for a while now, Rui. Is it one of those things where Vlade is really showing that he has command over this franchise, and which will lead me to also my next question about George Karl and DeMarcus Cousins, but do you think he's going to find a way to bring everyone together? Because it seems that way from how we're watching it.
I think definitely. I mean, being around Vlade, he's something. He gives off this feeling that he can get stuff done, and I think he can get along with just about anybody. He knows what he needs to do, and I mean, it seems that Vivek has full confidence in Vlade running the show. We see Vlade kind of being the middleman between Karl and Cousins, with their issues. But I think Vlade, this is his first year, right? He's been on the job for less than half a year. But I think having the endorsement of Vivek behind him and his knowledge of the league, which I think people seem to underestimate, not just because he hasn't had much front office experience. I think it's clear he knows what he's doing because all these additions since the trade have been spectacular.
Remember when the media was saying that he wouldn't know what to do? He doesn't know how to make trades. He doesn't know how to sign players because he's never been in a front office job before. He knew basketball, and it seems like it's working out for him that way. He was a leader of a team. I really like what he's putting together. And I want to kind of hit on it. Like I said, we're going to talk about Summer League guys, and you guys are definitely going to be able to call in on the hotline number 916-273-9777 later on in the show. But Rui, out of all these signings, out of everyone that you see Rondo, and none of these are official yet. They're supposed to be official, I believe, tomorrow. Actually, they're going to be flying down to Vegas, signing their contracts, as I read. You have Rondo, you have Marco Bellinelli, Kufos, everything like that, or Kufis. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. Greg Wiesinger from Sacktown Royalty was on the show last week. He was trying to give me the breakdown of how to pronounce his name because I kept doing it wrong. But, awesome. But out of all these players, I mean, which one of these has been your favorite one of the signings, and who do you think is going to have the biggest impact moving forward going into this new season?
Okay, so my favorite signing...
is it Rondo? I have a feeling you're going to say Rondo.
No, I mean, I you know me, I kind of like the more obscure moves. I thought the Butler move, really surprised me, and the Kings have just had like no success, trying to bring in older veterans through free agency. Butler is at the end of the line as far as his production on the court, but having a player coach like him, with this team is going to be really good, really helpful. Not like John Salmons, Cron Butler. His basketball IQ is much better, and I think he's going to have an amazing influence on Ben McLemore because, Butler in his prime was a great two-way player, and, McLemore obviously has the potential to be the same. As far as who's going to make the biggest impact, Kufo. Okay, you got to – can you say the name, please, again?
Costa Koufos.
Koufos, okay, Koufos. Costa Koufos. I see him having an enormous impact because, we can point to Rondo, but I feel like Carlson's return is going to be, nearly equal at the point guard position. Koufos, he's going to fill the role that, we really wish JT could have done, his entire career here. He's going to be swinging between power forward and center and, actually, be a lot more consistent on a nightly basis. Koufos is so well-rounded at everything. It's really hard to pick anything that he will hurt the Kings with.
Yeah, I like the Cron Butler signing, but do you really think he's going to be seeing minutes at all on the floor? Because I kind of feel like he's going to be playing that like mainly just locker room void guy, the guy who's going to be able to make sure these many different personalities that are in this locker room between Rondo, Carl, Cousins, everything like that. All the rumors that are out there about these names. He's going to kind of be that mediator. The guy who's like, everyone needs to calm down. We're here to win. He's been to the playoffs. I think now that's awesome that we have two players that have championships on them with Marco Bellinelli and Rajon Rondo. So I feel like they're making these right pieces, but you brought up Butler. Do you really see him having an impact on the floor, or is his presence going to be more known on the sidelines and behind the scenes?
Well, we know Carl likes to lean heavy on veterans. So, I don't think it's a matter of that. Because wins are they want to win now, right? So he played 20 minutes a game last year for the Pistons, which were a pretty bad team, or they were up and down. But I think a lot depends too on where Rudy Gay settles down, because we heard Vlade mention earlier in the offseason that he kind of expected Rudy to play at 4 more. So and then when you factor in Bargnani, potentially signing. I guess the front court's really crowded. So, but if Rudy Gay stays at the 3, right, then you're going to be seeing him playing minutes there. Caspi, Bellinelli. Injuries are obviously a factor, but I would doubt that Butler plays even close to those minutes. But I could definitely still see him playing some decent stretches through the year.
See that my next person that I would bring up then too is what about Omri Caspi? Because then Caspi has to find a way into the rotation as well. There's so many players here, and I think that's what's awesome is that we can throw a different name out there. Because how long has it been since we actually got to say that about the Kings team, where if we lose one player, we get to bring another one in? The team has created depth. Finally, they have depth, and I was all in for the whole bring in Wesley Matthews, everything like that. I wanted him here in Sacramento. But it's kind of looking like there's a blessing in disguise that he didn't sign here. I mean, the team has depth. They have talent. Overall, because I want to get into the behind-the-scenes stuff. You were at the practices. I want to get there. But overall impressions on the Kings offseason so far through free agency. I know it might not even be done yet. They traded Ray McCallum. Now they might be bringing in Andrea Bargnani, however you pronounce his name. But overall impressions on how Vlade has done this free agency period.
If I have to give him a grade,
yeah, A, B, C, D, or F.
A. I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't think I'm being biased in any way. It's just, he made the move to clear the space. He added 5-6 quality free agents, and he drafted a rookie that's ready to produce in Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, you can't really ask for more than that. I mean, they definitely dodged a bullet with the Wes Matthews offer.
I disagree. I know you say that, but I was a big Wes Matthews supporter. I wanted him here in Sacramento. I wanted him. I didn't care what they offered him. I wanted him in Sacramento. I'm sorry, I disagree. But continue. Go ahead.
No, Wes Matthews he's a pretty humble dude. But it was such a huge risk, coming off the injury to offer him that money, and that money that would have went to him they used to sign 2 guys. So I think would you rather? I mean. Signing Matthews would have been a bad sign for McLemore, especially. And, with Bellinelli can, play behind McLemore and allow him to continue to grow.
Well, breaking news here, Mark Stein just reported from ESPN that he says sources say Bargnani, in fact, took less money from the Nets because he preferred it in Brooklyn. Kings pitched a 2-year deal to him. So the Kings are not going to be getting Andrea Bargnani anyways. So there's that.
What? Oh, wait, sorry? Oh, he went to the Nets?
He went to the Nets. Andrea Bargnani went to the Nets, took less money instead of going to Sacramento. That's what Mark Stein from ESPN just reported out. So I had Josh Means in the chat board. He was just messaging me, one of the writers for SacKingsNation.com. But
okay.
Anyways, we're talking about the team. We're talking about Willie Cauley-Stein. He brought him in. You've been watching the practices going into Vegas, going into Summer League and everything like that. What were you seeing? Were there a lot of positives going into Vegas? And then also your initial impressions on Willie Cauley-Stein at this next level for the practices.
Okay, so let me remind anyone listening, James and I aren't in Vegas this year. Our editor, Aaron Fishman, is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we were here in Sacramento for the 3-day mini camp, and it's hard to make solid judgments based on the little window we see, because in the NBA they don't allow us to watch the entire practice, only the end. So we were able to catch 3 scrimmages and some shoot arounds, and the pace was really high. I think that that wasn't surprising, considering pace was like the word of the year last season. So they're pushing the ball really hard, lots of ball movement, which is great. The dribble drive really requires that. There really wasn't much outside shooting that was going through the hoop, but we saw Dukan hit a couple threes on Friday, and he was actually hitting some outside shots during practice. But again, it was all up and down. We saw like Ben McLemore participated in 2 of the scrimmages, and he had some great plays. Working on some of these younger guys. He had a great up and under, and there was another play he was caught with a long one with his feet set, and he looked to pass, but everyone's left him open, so he just drilled it. But he had some bad turnover. He had a couple bad turnovers. James Anderson had a couple bad turnovers, but he made a couple of good plays to make up for those. Corey Hawkins, I was impressed with his passing, particularly in the short window. He made some nice interior passes, and his dribbling was fine. And then Willie and Eric, right, and then Sim, they were all making play or trying to. Well, Eric on the second day, he was a lot more involved in the offense. The other 2 days, he was kind of invisible, but we saw him handle the ball a little bit on day 2. Sim, I think we kind of know what we get from Sim, but Willie was he had a couple up and down plays too. He almost threw down a really nasty alley-oop dunk, but someone fouled him underneath in the paint. And then I tweeted out how he got swatted by Sim on a turnaround fadeaway jumper, and that was probably the nastiest play I saw.
Well, we won't be seeing that anymore since Sim's going to the Canadian national team. But
yeah.
But so you're bringing up Willie, you bring up Eric Moreland. These are the 2 guys that I'm mostly interested in watching going into this summer league. This is the people that I really were keeping my eyes out for. Dukin became the prospect to watch. I was really enamored with him during that very first game, and I can't wait to see what he does against the Denver Nuggets. I'm actually really excited to see this Nuggets game just because of the whole thing that was happening leading up to the draft and all of the Malone's comments that he was been saying. But when I'm watching Moreland through game one, I kind of is getting the sense that he kind of has that Thomas Robinson type of game where it's just high motor, high everything, but I just don't. I mean, this is my personal opinion. You can tell me if you're completely opposite, but it just doesn't seem like he's really ready for that next level just yet. I still feel like there's a lot more room for him to develop before we actually see him start producing on the next level. What was your thoughts on him after game one?
Oh, I agree. He's definitely athletic and fast. The coaches point that out. The coaches endorse that. But he still has a lot to work on. I haven't seen a go-to move by him. At Oregon State, he cut and crashed the glass a lot, cut to the basket. But his jump shot is still a work in progress. He can body guys up on the defensive end. During the practices, we didn't see much problem with that. And he had a couple of really nice blocks near the end of Friday's game. But definitely still has a lot to add to his game. He might need to be playing up in Reno again this year to kind of work on that stuff.
What about Willie Cauley-Stein? Willie Cauley-Stein, I feel like he had a very solid first game. I don't think he did too much. I don't think he did very little. I feel like you kind of saw him in that role that I kind of picture him having in this Kings rotation where he's going to kind of fly under the radar. He's going to have a nice couple blocks. The chase down block he had to end out the first half was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
But, I kind of feel like we're seeing I feel like he is ready for that next level. That's the difference that I was seeing between the two is I wanted to see if Moreland, coming off that injury, not really playing a lot of minutes in his first year with the Kings or second year, I can't remember. But going into that next level, getting ready to come to the next level, I don't feel like he was ready. But with Willie Cauley-Stein watching that first game, I kind of feel like he was more mellowed out. He kind of knows his role, what he's going to do. I kind of want to see more of this offense that he says he has, where the jump shot is gold, as he said after he was drafted. I want to see that, and I want to see that going into the next level or going into this next game, especially against Denver, because I want the Kings to win this game. Just because I want a beef between the Nuggets and the Kings. I want some type of rivalry. I want some type of rivalry. So when I go to a game, I'm like, we got to watch this game. We got to go there. We got to watch this one. So what were your initial reactions and thoughts to Willie Cauley-Stein's very first game as a pro in a Sacramento Kings uniform? Well, not really a uniform, but it's not really a uniform.
Oh, yeah. Definitely promising. The jump shot you talk about, we didn't get to see his free throw release, I would say it was bronze. But, Summer League is always, a thing where it's not good for bigs because, it's just the ball is dominated by guards trying to show off and do whatever. So, but Willie's game isn't, having the ball in his hands. And I think we saw that on display on Friday because, he was crashing the glass, defending well. That block at the end of half was just incredible, right? That just showed, what he can do at the NBA level. We saw DeMarcus do a couple blocks like that. The idea of DeMarcus, who's developed so much as a shot blocker, and Willie defending the paint, it's going to help the Kings team in so many ways because, the perimeter defense, first off, it's going to, give confidence to those guys, that someone's behind them that has their back. So they can play more aggressively. And it's just going to be tough, because there's a lot of NBA teams that still have who can still throw two low post bigs out at you. So it's going to be big for the Kings. We do. This would be a good time to see Willie, do some stuff with the ball, but, it's not, again, it's not his game. So, we'll have to see what happens.
I'm not asking for like a 25-point game. I'm not trying to tell him to go all Seth Curry and throw up 24 shots. I'm not just asking for any of that. I just want to see maybe they did it a couple times, especially in the first half where they threw it down to him, or they'll do the little quick give and go where they pass it back up to him, and it was nice. But I want to see him kind of get it in the mid-block just because I want to see what he can do with the ball in his hands if it comes down to that situation, just because he said that was the biggest flaw for him was he doesn't really have that much of an offensive game. He only has the defense, but he kept preaching over and over that, the jump shot's gold. I have this mid-range jump shot. It's gold. I don't know I just never got to use it in Kentucky. He's really not going to be able to use it in Sacramento. There's too much offense. There's too many people that's going to have the ball in their hands where he's not really going to even have the ball. But This is the time where you want to see that there, where you can be like, okay, I know what he was saying. Okay, you know what? As fans, we're seeing that. We do see the development. There is promise there in that one area, and I don't think we're going to see it. I mean, do you think at some point during this time in Summer League we're actually going to see him kind of have an offensive burst? I'm saying maybe like a 15-point game or maybe even a 20-point game. I'm not saying 30 or 25 or nothing.
Again, so, I mean, if Stockton comes back from his injury, maybe they'll find someone, but they don't really have a true point guard out there right now to feed him the ball. And the dribble drive offense, which are running in Summer League, too, it really discourages mid-range jump shots. The Kings are definitely a strong endorser of analytics, bringing. So, I mean, it's gonna. I don't think we're gonna see much of Willie's mid-range shot ever. Or at least these years while Carl's here. But, I mean, they could make an emphasis to give him the ball. Now that Boular is gone, he'll definitely have more opportunities, him and Moreland.
Okay, so I didn't even know this, but why is Stockton injured? What happened with Stockton?
I believe he rolled his left ankle. The Kings haven't officially acknowledged it. But, I don't have a timetable on that.
Oh, okay. So, because I had a lot of people asking, why didn't David Stockton play? Why aren't we seeing David Stockton? Well, now we know. The reason why he has not played is because he has a rolled ankle. Thank you, Rui.
Yeah.
That helps.
No problem.
So, who is the prospect that you're really keeping your eye on now? Because, I mean, like I said, you got to see the practices out there in Vegas. Other than, the names that we've already seen, and I am going to talk about James Anderson because I kind of liked his game during that first game. I want to see what he can do in game 2. But the prospect to watch, right now, that could possibly get that automatic invite into training camp, who's that one player that you're keeping your eye on? I have it on Dukin, or as of game 1. He was my hashtag prospect watch.
It was Stockton, I was actually pretty intrigued to see Boular, because, he wasn't running the floor well, on Friday, but as far as rebounding, he did a good job. Obviously we're watching Willie.
He better do a good job.
Yeah. Willie obviously is intriguing to watch, and Moreland's development is crucial, right, for his NBA career. So, but again, this is Summer League. It's so hard for these front court guys to make an impression. Even like Karl Anthony Towns, didn't do a good job that same night. So,
yeah. I feel like I would really wanted to see David Stockton just because they talk about pace so much. They talk about passing. You now have Rondo. I kind of thought he would be able to learn a little bit if he got called up to training camp for that situation. But now I kind of got my eye on Duke, and I don't know why. I like the fact that he was playing the 3 and a little bit of the 4. I don't know. There's something about his game that intrigued me, and I knew nothing about him other than the fact that his name was called when he was checking into the game. That was the very first time I ever heard of him and reading it. But I've never seen him before. So I was really... Go ahead.
If I had to compare him to anyone, maybe Steve Novak, because he likes to sit around the perimeter, and he definitely loves to shoot the 3 ball, and he can obviously make it.
So would his development have to come from learning how to dribble and drive? Because, he kind of looked like he was doing it a little bit in game 1, but you're right. He was just posting up around the perimeter waiting for that 3-point shot.
Mm-hmm. I don't think dribbling is exactly crucial for this offense because, you only need one guy to penetrate, and pull a defender off the perimeter. So, it can work.
So what did you think of the Kings signing of James Anderson? And we got to see him a little bit. I kind of had if I had to do a Kings NBA comparison, I kind of saw a little Cuttino Mobley in him. Yeah, throwing it back. Yeah, that's what I saw. He kind of did a little bit. He was getting to the basket. He was knocking down jump shots, especially in that third quarter coming out of the half. I think there was right around the 5-minute mark, so it was halfway there. He made 5 shots in a row, straight back to back to back. So what were your thoughts on James Anderson's very first game?
James Anderson, the more I watch him, he put up the numbers, but he didn't look that good in the minicamp. On Friday he was definitely looking for a shot and making it. We know he's a good shooter. He said when interviewed a few days ago that his primary goal was to or focus on improvement was finding consistency in his long jumper. So it looked good on Friday, but again he's going against guys who probably aren't going to make an NBA roster. So you kind of expect him to dominate. But he showed some ball handling. I think he has good instincts. But he's probably. I mean, if anyone, he's probably not going to see the floor this year for the Kings if he makes the roster.
All right, guys, we have Mr. Rui Thomas from Cowbell Kingdom here on the Kings Court, presented by SacKingsNation.com. Everyone go on SacKingsNation.com and start ordering your SacKingsNation T-shirts. We're raising money to start getting better equipment for the show and everything like that. So they're only $18. Go on SacKingsNation.com, order your shirts today. Want to remind everyone that the Kings Court is sponsored by BrickHouseIndustries.com. Go to BrickHouseIndustries.com, use the promo code Kings Court and get a discount on us. All right, Rui. I've got to ask you this. You've been watching all of the summer league games so far. I'm guessing. I mean, I'm assuming. I'm guessing.
I have not. I have not actually.
You have not. So you haven't been watching any of the rookies. Have you been watching highlights? No. Highlights.
No. I had a lot of stuff to do yesterday.
Okay. Well, then let me just ask you this from the draft itself. Who is the prospect? Who's the rookie coming out that you are most intrigued with?
Man, that's there's a lot of guys, right? I mean, I'm curious to see what Willie does. I mean, there's so many names. I mean, D'Angelo, right? That's important to see because he's going to be playing the Kings 4 times a year for the next however many years.
Same with Towns. I'm interested in Towns. I'm not going to lie. That number 1 overall pick, he looks nice.
Yeah. Maybe another rookie I'm curious to see is Joel Embiid, right? He's still a rookie. So is he ever going to come back? That's a pretty important question. I mean, yeah, this class was so interesting. There's so many guys, so much promise. I guess that's that way every year. So I don't know. I mean, this is why I watch, right?
Yeah, so before we get into the fan questions, which we're going to get into, and once again, guys, anytime you guys have a question, you can start calling into the show now, 916-273-9777. What's your thoughts on Porzingis? I mean, we got to see him yesterday for the very first time. Like you said, you didn't get to see him or anything like that, but I'm guessing when the draft was coming up, you had to watch a little bit of it. Again, I'm assuming. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing you had to learn a little bit about him. At least you did, a little bit. What were your initial thoughts on Porzingis, and do you think he's going to be one of those players that's not going to turn out to be like a Darko Milicic or anything like that? Or
I think on the last time I was on your podcast, I said I gave him a ringing endorsement. I wanted the Kings to take him. You did. In hindsight, I suppose with the way the roster's constructed, Willie was a much better choice. But I fall in love with these European guys. I fell in love with Bargnani when he came out back in 2006, and I think he has better physical tools than Bargnani. Porzingis, he's laterally quick. I think he seems smart. He'll add strength, and he has a stroke, and he's incredibly tall, and he can put the ball on the floor. So put all those things together, and you put him in the right system, he should be able to contribute in some way.
Yeah, I want to see what he does. After watching that first game, he's kind of limited to his hip injury, I guess. But watching that game 1, I mean, you saw the hustle. You kind of see he really needs to work on that, getting some muscle or getting some more meat on those bones, because he is very tall but very thin. And it looks like he's going to get tossed around down there in the low post by any NBA center, power forward, even some small forward that he's going to be playing on the next level. So I want to see how he looks going into his next game and also going into the league. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Willie. That's will never be an issue with him because he's absolutely ripped. That's what partially what made him so NBA ready. You can just take on guys and not get worn out. Playing down low.
Who do you think starts, Rui or Kufos?
Rudy or Kufos?
Kufos, yes.
I don't expect Kufos to start. I'm going to guess, just because of that hint Lottie gave, that Rudy's going to start at the 4, and then they're going to have that deep front court with Kufos and I'm blanking. Kufos and Cauley-Stein.
So you think Rudy might start at the 4?
I mean, in the little window we saw of Rudy at the 4, I mean, he did really well. I mean, he held his own defensively against Nene and Anthony Davis. And, you can take these guys off the dribble. And, Rudy is, he's not a wimp. He likes to tussle and play physical. So he can definitely fit there. And Carl definitely seems to think so.
So who would be your 3? Would it be Caspi or would it be Ben McLemore? Because then I can also see them running a 2-guard lineup of Rondo and Carlson.
Yeah, I think you would go with Caspi now, since he was starting, to end the season. I don't think it would be Butler, and I think they'd want to keep Ben at the 2. We'll see Marco, swinging between those positions.
Oh, I didn't even think Marco could start at the 2 also. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they work around this rotation and see how they play with it, because now they have a lot of pieces to play with. So I'm really interested to see how it all works out. But all right, guys, like I said, it is time for the fan questions. If you have a question that you want to get on the show, you can email your questions to kingscourtpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, you can tweet your questions to me as well. My Twitter handle is @VMCenter, or you can call in right now. The number on the show, once again, is 916-273-9777. If you have a question for Rui or I, we're going to be taking questions for the next couple minutes. I do have a few Twitter questions and Kings app questions as well, Facebook questions and things like that I want to ask you, Rui, from the fans. But at any time, feel free to call in, guys, 916-273-9777, and we will gladly answer your Sacramento Kings questions. So our first question of the day comes from OneKing909. His question is, which player are you most excited to see? So I kind of took his question. But which player are you most excited to see going from all these new signings? Who are you most excited to see? Once again, go ahead and answer his question, Rui.
From all these signings, I mean, Rajon Rondo is a huge question mark, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to get out of him? He can't spread the floor, or, unless it's one of those like magical nights when everything's just falling for him. But, as far as running the offense, he should be absolutely fine, and his defense is going to be a concern too, because, he hasn't really played at the elite levels, for the last couple of years. And from what we saw in Dallas, not very encouraging either way on both, both sides of the court. So, and he's an interesting cat, right? I mean, he likes to get in people's faces, and I'm not sure what he's going to be like to talk to. So, I mean, he'll definitely we'll need to watch him.
What kind of numbers are you going to be expecting from him? Because that's my biggest question. I'm thinking to myself over and over is, who or what player are we going to see? Are we going to see Boston Rondo come back because he's playing with friends like Rudy Gay and the person who admires him like DeMarcus Cousins because he went on the Bill Simmons podcast and says that he's the best point guard in the league? So, yeah. he kind of has like now 2 people around him that really want him to work. The Kings really want him to work out. He needs to find a way to work out because it seems like he's kind of on his last legs if this doesn't work out. Mm-hmm. So, if you had to do a buy or sell being you don't think he's going to do good, buy he is going to do good, buy or sell on Rajon Rondo in Sacramento?
Buy, because he's all in, because right, he's at the the fork in the road in his career. If he plays bad here, on his make good contract, it's at his age it's just gonna be downhill from here. So he's gonna put in the effort. We're not gonna see anything weird like at the end of that Mavericks playoff series. As far as expectations, I could see him playing around like the 27-28 minute mark to start the season. Ideally he averages like 10 points a game and like 9 assists, and the steals will be big too, because Carl makes an emphasis on trying to create turnovers. So I think Rondo should be able to help in that regard.
Okay, this next question comes from Alexei Stukov. His question is, which King are you most excited? Okay, it's kind of the same question, but then his next part of his question is, which will be the most? Who do you feel will become more disappointing? So he kind of wants you to be like the most. Who will have a more disappointing season this year? I'm kind of gonna lean toward Ben McLemore on this question, just because I think Marco Bellinelli might start stealing some minutes from him if he doesn't start improving right away. But I'm all in with Ben McLemore. I like Ben McLemore a lot. But who do you think has the more disappointing season?
So are we talking free agent additions or all players?
I think he's asking for all players because there's these new additions, because there's depth.
Okay, I'll give you like some disappointment candidates, because you mentioned Ben. Definitely, this is a crucial year for him just as well. Year 3, should be the big jump. He's putting in the time this offseason, even willing to play with the summer league guys, in practice. but remains to be seen what's on the court. But promising, obviously. But he's obviously a candidate. Let's see, Carlson coming off the bench. How is he going to react to that? He's came off the bench in the past, but it seemed like he had proven himself last year that he was the guy to run the show. So he's the UCLA guy. I'd say he's a stable guy. He's not the kind of person who's going to flip out and complain or anything, kind of pout, but coming off the bench, it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts in his second year in Sacramento. Caspi, too, I think is another disappointment candidate because, last year was really his only good NBA season. So, what happens next year? Does he revert back to some bad habits? So I guess those would be my three.
I'm gonna throw one more name, and I might have missed it. I don't know. Let me know if you said it too, because I might have just missed it, but I'm hearing it. But I have Willie Cauley-Stein being kind of a disappointment this year, mainly because George Karl doesn't like playing rookies. He's known for not playing rookies. And now you have a little depth, and I know they want to play small ball. You're going to have Rudy playing the 4. You're going to have Kufos playing the 5 and the 4. You're going to have Caspi. You're going to have all these rotational players in. I don't necessarily think it'd be more of a disappointing season, but more of the fact that I think that fans are going to have a higher expectation on him, wanting to see more from him. And it's not going to pan out the way that they think it's going to pan out. It's not going to be the numbers that they're hoping it's going to be. We had Greg on the show, like I said, last week, and we even had James come on the show where we were talking about it all. And it was kind of one of those things where we shouldn't expect too much from this guy. I mean, he has the talent. He has the way it's going to work, but he's not going to be really involved in the offense to where other than he's going to be grabbing rebounds, putting it back, or getting an alley-oop dunk from Rondo, Cousins, or anywhere they're going to play it out. So, for me, I think another person that we have to add in there is going to be Willie Cauley-Stein, mainly because I think a number average of what I'm looking at for him is maybe going to be 5 and 8. I think he's going to average 5 points, 8 rebounds.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, great candidate.
All right, Rui, so that's actually all the questions that we have, but before we go, I want to ask just this. So this is a question from me to you. Going into Denver, or going against Denver now, and then going into the season, do you think there's actually going to be a rivalry there? Because I really do want a rivalry game. The Kings-Laker rivalry, it's gone. If you weren't in that era and you didn't get to feel it, then you missed out on a great time of watching Kings and Lakers. Golden State and the Kings, that's not a real rivalry. People try and make that up because it's across the way. It's not a real rivalry. They beat us every single time out of the water. And sometimes gets boring to watch. I mean, if Klay Thompson goes off for 35 and a quarter again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very angry. But, I mean, do you think that's actually something that's going to be brewing between the two? And what are you expecting coming into Game 2 for these Summer League guys? What are you looking for? What do you want to see?
Okay, I'm so thankful that you asked me this question because I find rivalries in the NBA so fascinating. I actually talked to Jason Thompson and DeMarcus, about their opinions on the rivals, and they tried to downplay it, but I'm sure, well, I want to ask them about the Lakers and the Warriors, but I could, if I had to, you say the Lakers Kings rivalry is dead. I mean, I wouldn't say it's dead. I mean, isn't it more on life support, really?
It's dead. Let's be honest. Kobe's on his last legs, all right? I like old Kobe. Okay, I'm not even going to lie. As a Kings fan, younger in my days watching that Kings-Lakers rivalry, I hated Kobe Bryant. I was not a Kobe Bryant fan. I hated the fact he was so cocky. I hated everything. I did not like Kobe Bryant. Old Kobe, this Kobe, the guy who tweets out an unlocked lock thing and then 5 championships and then locking it back up with a peace sign. I was like, old Kobe is cool. I respect Kobe. Kobe is the man. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. But once he's gone, you got a bunch of D-League players there. I'm sorry, they're D-League players, other than maybe Russell, but we don't even know how good he is.
No, they have Randall and
coming off of a severe injury though.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see it's there. I don't see it coming back unless the Kings and the Lakers get to that point to where they meet in the playoffs the way that they used to, where there's a Shaq on the Lakers singing, they're the Queens singing some song to the Cheers ringtone. I don't know. Something has to build back up, and I just kind of feel like it's gone. But that's my personal feeling. If you feel like it's on life support, bring that thing back. Get some pumps out. Start giving it mouth to mouth. I don't know what you got to do, Rui. Bring a rivalry back.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it may come back. I think right now, I mean, the Kings, if they have a rivalry, it would be the Clippers, since they seem to be testy. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Cousins, that triangle. But with the Nuggets, I would definitely like to see a rivalry, and the pieces are there since Malone and Pete are both there. But like you said, it matters a lot on the competitiveness, and the Nuggets roster, in my opinion, is looking a lot worse than the Lakers roster right now. So it's kind of a bunch of misfits, and Ty Lawson, who's stinking up the joint. So we'll have to see. But as long as those guys are in place, it's going to be really fun watching Carl coach off against Malone. Can you believe that? I mean, it's going to be amazing when Denver comes to town, first time.
Yeah, I really, especially after the comments of, Malone, I'm paraphrasing, so you can tell me if you actually know it, but he kind of was saying on the lines of, I feel like it's going to work here because I don't have a front office. I don't have people telling me how I should run the team type of feeling. And I don't know, but I feel like there's little shots being blown. And I brought it up to you the last time you were on the show where I think the rumors that were coming around about how the Kings wanted to trade Cousins and all these little tidbit of rumors that were getting spotted out as sources, I thought it was Denver. I still think it's Denver. I think it might be Pete. I think it might have been anything because they picked right after the Kings at 7. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of, at 7. So I was like, oh, okay, this is all Denver. And that's my mindset. So going into this game today, I know there's not going to be a lot of hype into it, but going into that first game against the Nuggets in Sacramento, in Sleep Train Arena, what do you think? What do you think fans do when they hear Malone's name as head coach? Do they boo? Do they cheer? What do they do?
They're definitely going to cheer. Kings fans are definitely going to cheer for Malone. Okay. I would put money on it. Yeah.
Okay. Josh Means writes in the live chat, says Clippers is another rivalry, but he wants to have a rivalry with New Orleans. So do you think there's pieces there to have one with New Orleans? I mean, they got Tyreek, and then the battle between the two top centers. Or at least the up-and-coming top centers of Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, you think there's something that can be brewing right there?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's more with the Anthony Cousins kind of rivalry. Since they're going to be sharing the West, you think for the next 15 years. Tyreek, everyone loves to watch play. The Kings fans, they have to keep track of him, to see his development. But I just think that the Denver situation is a lot more personal, and
that's what makes it more fun. That's what makes it more fun because that Lakers Kings, it got personal at times. You know what I mean? Where, like I said, Shaq goes on the bus. I mean, there's songs. If I had the link, I would play it right now for everyone to hear of where he's singing a song about how Vladdy's name can't be pronounced and all this stuff and everything that was going on, calling us the Sacramento Queens. Which I still think is kind of funny that he's still a partial owner of the team. And I don't know. It's kind of weird now. But
Vince, did you ever see when The Rock came to Arco? No. Part of WWE, I think. And he sang that song, trashing Sacramento. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out.
Oh, okay, I'm going to start looking. So The Rock in Sacramento. Dwayne
Johnson.
The Rock Johnson singing a song about how Sacramento sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can smell what The Rock is cooking now. Okay. Okay, so before we end up the show, again, Kings Nuggets in the next hour because the show's panning out right now. It's 3:51 p.m. right now. The game starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Who wins it? What are you expecting to see?
The Kings coming off a painful loss to the Raptors are going to come back with much more fire and squeak out a sloppy win against the Nuggets.
Okay, I really hope that comes true. I think the Kings are going to win, but I also think there's going to be that time where you're going to see Emmanuel Mudiay make a nice move or do something where he's going to score a lot of points. Something's going to happen, and you're going to see Kings fans say, why didn't we pick him? Why didn't we pick him? I'm expecting that. I really am.
Good call, yeah. I see that.
Same, and if Nick Stauskas would have played this summer league, which he's not going to, he's not playing. But if he did, and he went off for even 15 points, but he made 3 3-pointers in a row, where at some point where he showed his shooting, Kings fans would be like, look what we gave up for Marco Bellinelli. I'm telling you right now, you would see that all over about Kings should have kept Nick Stauskas.
Well, sorry?
I was completely fine with that trade. I don't mind. I mean, I don't feel like Nick Stauskas really showed anything at that point during his first season where you saw he was going to make a big jump going into year 2.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of showed in his first year, he's not going to be a star in the league. At least with Bellinelli, you know what you get. A veteran who isn't going to go through a big 3-point shooting slump. So, the Kings need reliability out there. Stauskas had a lot of open looks last year that he didn't convert. I have a lot of faith in Stauskas, turning his career around, but Bellinelli's just basically just a more expensive version of him, or what he should be.
All right, guys, that is our show. Leave your guys' comments in the comment section below, whether you guys are watching this live right now here on Mixler.com, or if you guys are watching the after show part of it on Stitcher, listening to the podcast on Stitcher, YouTube.com/the SacKingsNation. Go on SacKingsNation.com. Again, start ordering your SacKingsNation T-shirts. Marley Silverman might be throwing up pictures right now, for all I know, on the YouTube channel, so people can start seeing what the T-shirts look like. I made a little promo video for them. They're only $18. We're raising money for the mics and stuff like that. Rui, have you actually seen the shirts on Twitter? I've been blasting them everywhere. I think
the shirts. They look good.
Thanks. See? Even Rui likes them. He said he's going to buy one off air, didn't you, Rui?
Yes.
No, see? I told you guys. He's already looking to buy one too. So go ahead, you guys, go on SacKingsNation.com. Order your guys' T-shirts. Again, I want to remind everyone that the Kings Court is sponsored by BrickHouseIndustries.com. Go to BrickHouseIndustries.com. Use the promo code KingsCourt. Get a discount on us. Mr. Rui Thomas from CowbellKingdom, thank you once again for coming on the show, sir. Where can people find you online?
CowbellKingdom.com, and I have a Twitter too, Mr. Rui Thomas.
Yeah, last time you were on, you said your name was Thomas/Rui on Twitter, and I was like, I didn't Google it. I went on Twitter and looked it up. I was like, oh, that's not the Twitter name. I was like, so I just wrote it in bold letters at Mr. Rui Thomas on Twitter. But all right, guys, for sure, follow him on Twitter. Go on CowbellKingdom.com. Follow everything you guys do from there, from King stuff, whether it's on Cowbell Kingdom, whether it's on SacKingsNation.com. There's a lot of great King stuff content out there that you guys can definitely go out there and find. Again, subscribe to the show if you're not a subscriber. Do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Leave your guys' comments in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree with anything that we've said. The shows are live every Sunday. Look for me on Twitter at VM Center. And until next time, Sacramento Kings fans, bye-bye.